There are many different opinions on Nothing Phone 2. A special phone, it's just glyphs, change in the phone industry, creative design, it's like last year, and more. It's really hard to choose something that perfectly describes this phone. But I think this is the perfect second step to nothing. But why this is a perfect second step? Well, we can divide it into three parts. It has tried to make the product special and difficult to compare, something like what Apple has done with its software. Secondly, it has chosen a suitable price range and tried to be perfect, balanced, and even more than what it should be. Because it is not a well-known company yet, and it has hyped the product a lot. And finally, while maintaining its character, it has more opportunity to show what kind of company it will be. Let's start with the first one. The design is definitely the biggest thing that makes this phone special. At first glance, there is no change compared to the previous generation, but there are some minor changes that really matter. The dimensions of the phone have increased by 0.2 inches, the back glass has become more curved, and the cuts and precision in manufacturing have increased. The printing of the transparent back panel has become really high quality, and the lights on the back panel have been slightly changed to make it more practical. These changes are really felt in the real world. The phone has a more premium feel both in terms of appearance and in terms of feeling in the hand. The material is completely metal and glass, and the semi-flat frame makes it easier to hold. On the front panel, the bezels of the display are not very small, but they are similar from all sides, and this small thing has a great impact on the user experience. The lights on the back panel of the phone, in addition to having a special appearance, can be customized and can be synced with your ringtones, create your own ringtone, show the timer, show the charge level of the phone, show the location and amount of reverse charge, and even notify the driver's arrival time in the Uber app. Of course, only a few apps are compatible with these features, but there will probably be more. But what's the point? Two users can be considered for it. Firstly, you don't have to open the phone and get distracted. For example, make certain lights for special notifications, which is not that easy to be honest. And the second is the design itself. Yes, many people definitely think that most of the time we put the phone facing the back panel on the table, or it is not clear when we hold it. But let's look at it another way. When we talk about the design of a phone, which part are we talking about? These days, the front panel and frames of all phones are similar. We can see the model and brand of the phone from the back panel of it. And it is really unique in terms of design, if you like it. It is transparent, but at the same time, it does not have a strange or non-minimal design. Everything is neatly placed. Before this, there are many transparent products, but we have to accept that nothing really changed it. The uniqueness of the phone is not only limited to the design, but also the software. Some companies think that good software means putting the user in a lot of personalization and leaving the rest to the user. No, it's not like that. A good software is a simple and fluent software whose features are easy to access. The icons and customization options in Nothing Phone 2 are really enjoyable. Simplicity and modernity can be seen in the entire user interface. Yes, it has some bugs and glitches, which is normal for a 2-year-old UI. Of course, many may not perfect. But why it should be special? Because otherwise, it will be much more difficult. 12-year-old Xiaomi's out there with very low and non-competitive profit margins, Samsung with a brilliant history, and Apple, as you know. It should do something so that its product is less compared. But the second step is to make it perfect in this price range, and even beyond. Because it should offer something more for me to buy it instead of Google or Samsung. The display of Nothing Phone 2 is completely flagship. 1080p LTPO2 flexible AMOLED display with 120Hz refresh rate, HDR10+, and 10-bit color support. The colors in this display are highly accurate, the black color depth and contrast are high, and overall it is pleasant to see the content in it. Yes, if you are a little sensitive, the display of super premium phones is sharper, but you really don't lose much. Its consumption is also optimal and the refresh rate is reduced to 1 Hz when always on. Its brightness is also quite satisfactory, 1600 nits, which means that its content is fully visible under direct sunlight. The optical fingerprint sensor is located under the display, which has a convenient location and a speed. The hardware is where nothing keeps the balance. A Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 with 8 or 12 GB of RAM. This is not the latest processor, but it is a stable and improved version of the previous year's flagship processor. Everything in this phone is very fast and heavy tasks are performed well, and performance of the cooling system is completely acceptable. During heavy and long use, it gets hot like any other phone, but it is not annoying. You can also find the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 in this range, but nothing probably wanted to save the money for make a better user experience for all type of users. The camera is also the part that nothing keeps it balanced. The main sensor is 50 megapixels and this is the same sensor as in OnePlus 11 and Nord 3, and a 50 megapixel ultra-wide sensor, which is the best thing possible. When the budget is tight, a good ultra-wide is better than 1 or 2 completely useless lenses that nobody uses. The selfie camera is also 32 megapixels. Nothing has advertised a lot on its photo processing, which is very good that it has worked on it. But there are many differences between a 2-year-old algorithm of a new company and the algorithm of a giant company like Google or even OnePlus. The photos of the main lens have very little noise, the colors are close to reality, the dynamic range is acceptable, the contrast is always high, and the photos are sharp but not over sharp, which is really good. In portrait photos, the subject is well separated from the background. Sometimes it may have problems with difficult subjects, but overall it is good. The blurring of the background and exposure to the subject are also processed naturally. Photos in night mode have a good dynamic range, especially in the highlights. The details of the photos are high and the naturalness of the colors is satisfactory, especially in the sky. Ultra-wide photos are fantastic for this type of lens, and at this price. Low noise, accurate colors, and acceptable dynamic range. Of course, there is distortion at the edge of the photo. The ultra-wide lens also has autofocus, which means that it can also take macro photos. Its macro photos are better than all individual macro lenses. High detail, accurate colors, and good dynamic range. The price range of Nothing Phone 2 is not mid-range, it is flagship killer, but these days, expect for flagships, secondary lenses do not perform well. Selfies have a moderate dynamic range, show the skin color and details well, and have a solid but not over-the-top performance. The main camera has OIS and can record 4K video at 60 frames per second, but the selfie camera is limited to 1080p. The overall camera package have solid performance, but I prefer the Pixel 7 or even the Pixel 7 Pro. The battery of the Nothing Phone 2 is 4700 mAh. But this 300 is not really noticeable compared to other phones, or at least in this phone. It can last a full day in semi-heavy usage without needing to be charged. There is no charger inside the box, which is strange for a new brand, but it supports 45-watt wired charging and is fully charged in less than an hour. It also supports 15-watt wireless charging and 5-watt reverse charging, which is always a good news. The speaker of this phone is a stereo and its sound is really good. You can feel the bass in it and it has good clarity and volume. It is not as good as the flagships, but it is quite satisfactory. And the last step, maintaining your character and show goals. Nothing Phone 1 was a huge success and attracted a lot of fans and attention to nothing. This is strange, you know. Anyway, the first step could not have a high risk, but now it can show more of its goals. Nothing Phone 2 is $100 to $200 more expensive than Nothing Phone 1, and now it is placed in the category of flagship killer, and not mid-range. Also, when we see the quality of body and premium appearance were more important to the company than the latest processor, we understand the goal is making premium product. Also not several models per year, but one or a limited numbers. In this model, Nothing has moved toward making a premium phone, but it has not fundamentally changed the appearance and character of Nothing, so that anyone who sees Nothing Phone 2 will remember the first version. This is why I think the Phone 2 is the perfect second step to Nothing. thanks for watching. If you like this video, like it, and if you like my content, subscribe to my channel. Goodbye, see you next